Welcome, everyone. My name is Charles Lejano, and let's get real today as we are joined by two of the best and brightest in the real estate industry when it comes to real estate brokerage and real estate investment. I am referring to none other than Mr. Gary Hablero, the Director for Investments of Remax Capital, and joined by Mr. Noli Alleje, El Subastahero himself. So, kamusta naman tayo, gentlemen? At we're fresh off a new set of rules that we have to consider in relation to this current COVID-19 scenario that we're finding ourselves in. What do you have to say? Gary, you
Okay,
can go ahead.
I'll go first. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Charles, for inviting me here. And hello, everyone. Well, for about 8 weeks now, I think we're getting used to working from home. I think it's gonna be the new normal even after the lockdown. But it's a bit challenging because this is not the way we have been doing things. But I think just like any individual or any business for that matter, you need to adapt with the situation.
It's all about adaptability, no, sir. Sir Nolly, you are a
Yeah.
master of seizing opportunity in times of crisis. What does the picture look like for you?
Well, right now, we're looking maybe at panic buyers for the first 2 weeks. And then
Okay.
maybe for around 3 or 4 months, we're going to go through some distressed properties, and then the foreclosures will come in. Maybe after 6 weeks or 7 weeks, and the foreclosures will start to trickle in. And then maybe
Okay.
2021, then you'll see the waves coming in already. So it will take
Wow.
like 9 months. In 1997, it took like 2 to 3 years. Kasi may foreclosure procedures pa yan, may negotiations, restructuring, trying hard. Right now, a lot of the people, I would say, are in denial. Kaya ko to. Kaya ko to. Yung
Laban
iba
ba? Laban ba?
talagang, yung iba, panic na, di ba? ECQ na, pagtapos na yan, better natin ka agad. So, iba-iba yung tempo ng tao. Pero it will be good to look at the next 3 or 4 months. Kasi if, like what they say, we'll have a V economy, it's gonna be a spike up. And people will be able to survive. Pag hindi nag-spike up yan, mahirapan tayo.
What we'd like to discuss also today is how this relates to the big picture of the real estate industry in the Philippines. I understand na we have been on a very, very nice uptrend for the past decade, and even with past financial crises, Asian financial crisis, and other Philippine and ASEAN or worldwide events, real estate in the Philippines has been relatively resilient. And I'd like to find out your thoughts, Gary, on where this particular set of circumstances compares, how it compares to, let's say, how bad it got in the Asian financial crisis. Are we in for a similar roller coaster?
Okay, I think that's a very good question, and I think a lot of people, especially those who are involved in the real estate market, are comparing the sort of crisis that we are having now with the 1997 Asian financial crisis. However, it's important to take note that there are, there's a lot of differences between what happened in 1997 and what is happening today. For one, for the last 10 years, we have really a great GDP growth, which was averaging for at least 6%. During that time, I think that the crisis really started in Thailand, and we just really got affected. And where, if we remember, economies allowed their foreign currencies to float, and overnight there was a depreciation of some of the Asian currencies by at least 10-12%. And eventually, Philippines, after maybe 6 months, the depreciation was about 42%. We are not experiencing it right now. There was also a spike in interest rates in order to manage the crisis during that time. But now we don't have spiking interest rates. In fact, the opposite is happening. There's stimulus from the government. Bangko Central even reduced the reserve requirement by 200 basis points. And interest rates are going down simply because I think they have learned from the 1997 crisis, and they're trying to prevent the same thing from happening. So it is really a unique situation now, although the one main difference is that businesses are basically put into a halt, which did not happen in the 1997 crisis.
Do you think this is also a good opportunity for you as a real estate investor, no, to explore that market? Let's say you're in a liquid place, you're in a very, very liquid position. Would now be a good time to strike, or bababa pa ba yan? Would there be still a much lower price that you can expect, or dapat ba ngayon pa lang pumasok ka na?
Well, actually, it's really a good time to buy if you understand the market. And when if prices are going down. However, since the last 2 months, there was basically a halt of real estate transactions. Government offices are closed, so we really don't know. What we only experience is that there's a slowdown in demand, but prices, it's really more of a status quo for now. So if you are liquid, as you have been saying, yes, I think it's an important position, and if you understand what you're buying, it would be great because interest rates are lower, and it's hard to speculate if it's going to continue to go down. If only we have the crystal ball, then I think we can guess. But since we don't have, I think we just really have to look at market dynamics.
I'd like to ask Sir Noli, what's your perspective, no? If you do a snapshot of today's circumstances, including the modified ECQ, including what's happening all over the world in terms of lockdowns and quarantines. How does this compare to what happened in the past? Are we equipped?
Actually, if you look at it, no, we will not maybe compare it too much to 1997. No? Medyo tama si Gary dyan, na iba talaga yung situation. No? In fact, at that time, the developers were not fully funded. No? Hindi malakas ang foundation nila, financial foundation. Unlike today, they're very well funded to the equities market. No? So medyo magandang stand nila. I would say we're looking more at the financial crisis, the global financial crisis of 2007, which actually, if you think about it, as Filipinos, we really didn't feel it, no? Because our market was doing very good. Maganda kayong position ni Gary ngayon kasi ang revival ng industry, a lot of them are saying, will come from the commercial properties, which is actually Gary's expertise talaga. No? So yun ang mag-uumpisa talaga ng recovery natin is when people get to realize that the Philippines is talaga #1 for outsourcing. So they'll begin to come here to be able to cut their costs, and start putting up their establishments or their representations here, either actual physical office or through freelance moments, through getting freelance people. Pero yun ang talaga mga resurgence dito. There's a lot of difference on what happened before. Like people say, it's going to be different this time, no? The collapse and the rise will still be the same. Real estate will be the start of the collapse and will be the end of the collapse. So yun ang makikita mo. Pag bumagsak na real estate, pababa na talaga tayo. Pag umangat na uli yung real estate, buhay na uli-uli. So, yun ang takbo ng ekonomiya natin.
I see. Okay, so that being said, we have a pretty clear picture now, a clearer idea of where we stand in relation to history, the historical events relating to the real estate market. What would you say now is the best way to move forward, to ease into this often quoted new normal that we're gonna face now? Obviously, meron tayong internet na live or die by the internet na tayo ngayon. And then let's just take out of the equation for now the government lockdown. Assuming na nandiyan na ulit, nasa GCQ na tayo kunwari, what would be your first few insights as a business owner? Let's start with Gary.
Okay. Of course, as we have been talking about it for the past months, there will really be a new normal. And because of the social distancing or physical distancing, I can just surmise that buildings may be strict in allowing showings. So there will be an increase in virtual tours. So if you have that technology, then you will be able to continue showing your listings or your properties to your prospective buyers.
Okay.
And the work from home, I think this will have to stay because of the social distancing. I think people are getting used to it already. I just don't know in terms of productivity. Hopefully, it will just have the same effect. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, there will be a change in behavior. And for the investors, I think, as we have discussed earlier, if they are liquid, there is really an opportunity. And real estate being a hard asset, it's the safest investment in the world because it's not volatile. It's something that you can see, you can touch, you can feel, and you can smell.
Mm-hmm.
And in real estate, you have control. You really have control. You can beautify the property and command a better rent. So yeah, I'm quite optimistic about what's gonna happen. Although there'll be a lot of changes in the way
Mm-hmm.
we'll be doing things as far as technology is concerned.
Yes, technology definitely important factor to consider in how we do business moving forward. But then, Sir Noli, I'd like to talk
Yeah.
to you about the entire process on the build and the flip, taking business advantage of the distressed assets. What will be the change in mindset now moving forward, or is it practically the same?
Well, actually, even if you take out the ECQ, then you take out the GCQ, you know what, that virus is still out there. You won't see me out there tripping and talking to people, having meetings and having conferences. No,
Mm-hmm.
most probably I'll go to a PVC, a personal voluntary,
Mm-hmm.
um, kasi medyo mahirap mag-contact ng tao, no? It only takes one people. But it will only take one person for it to go boom again to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, pagdating sa mga distressed assets, as I mentioned, uh, you have to give it some time, eh? Because they're going to go through a denial period, di ba? They'll try to
Yes.
make bawi. They'll try to see, kaya ko to pa, kaya ko pa to. Di ba? Tapos mamaya, ay, hindi ko pala kaya. Tapos they'll begin to negotiate. So remember, HUDCC also came up with the housing group. They came up with some rules on how to postpone the payment of your amortizations and how it's going to be spread out over the next months ahead. No? So
Mm-hmm.
mukhang may konting tuition naman. No?
Hmm.
Flipping, I would say, ako tingin ko pa rin countryside. You know? Metro Manila's too
Mm-hmm.
high already. Prices here are quite already on a reasonable level. No?
Mm-hmm.
So, I like countryside. Pag kayo bumili ka din ng property sa countryside, biglang tinayuan mo ng mall, boom! Up value ka agad. Konting plano pa na ng development, boom! Meron na kagad, price increase. No? I like here, the metro, even if you buy a house in within the metro, and there are developments, the subway, they add more cars to the MRT. It will not really help at the end of the day. No?
Exactly. Yeah. Switching over to Gary, you specialize in Rockwell. That's
Windows.
that special little place there in Makati, no?
Mhm.
Where
Yes.
does the market go from here? I understand that there have been some uh, studies suggesting that the price will decrease by a certain number of percent over the next few months. You've seen this happen before. What do you tell your clients?
Okay, that's, I think, a very interesting question. I wasn't in real estate back then in 1997. I was in a different industry. I was in the garment industry. I only experienced the 2008 global financial crisis. And as Sir Noli said, that we basically did not really experience a dip in prices during that time because our market was still strong and upbeat. And it's very hard to speculate now whether prices are going down for the high-end market. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
this market, the luxury market, they have the holding power. And
Mm-hmm.
investors who will unload are those who can no longer uh, hold their investment, meaning to say they are nearing defaults or their business probably is not doing well, that they need to liquidate assets. You will see that in the probably in the high-end market. But remember, the past decade, transactions in the high-end market are most in cash. So if I do X number of transactions before, only one or two will do bank financing. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, there is not much leverage on the high-end market. What I see that may be hit will be the mid-market, the properties that are between 3 to 6 million, and even the affordable market, because if the investor loses his or her job or may not be doing well in business, and it is where their monthly amortization or installment is coming from, they might be affected. And that's where I agree with Sir Noli that there will be defaults, and it will create a drop somehow in property prices because investors want to liquidate as fast as they can.
Yeah, that's interesting insight, GH. No? Maganda kasi yung nadi-distinguish. It's nice that we're able to distinguish how the various segments of the market would operate moving forward. You're telling us that the high-end residential market is more or less more immune to these types of government interventions and or risks, no, in terms of their investment. So Noli, would you be able to confirm that most of the distressed properties that you're encountering now would be in the 3 to 6 M market range?
Yeah, if you look at it, yung mga sa tingin mo na the ones that are highly leveraged are actually the ones who are teetering, on a thin line. So where are you at? There are two kinds here. Ang sa market yan na very heavy, no? I would say one is the ones who are actually went through a loan process already. So tapos na ang down payment nila, moving in na sila, turnover na ang unit, title's been transferred to them, they've taken out a loan, so now they owe the bank. So that one can proceed either to a restructuring or diretso yan sa foreclosure. No? Yung isa naman, yung pagdating naman sa pre-selling. So these are the people who put 10% down or 20% down, payable over 48 months. So lumalapit na ngayon ang kanilang turnover, which actually means bank financing. So dapat may take out na sila. So what's going to happen in this place? Even if people say, like what Gary said a moment ago, that they're lowering the RRR, the reserve requirement. So mga 200 billion na release sa market, I don't think the banks will give that to the housing right away. I-hold nila muna yan because they're going to now bring up the level of the credit scoring. Hindi naman sila kapautan ng ganyan-ganyan na lang ngayon. Tapos kung may mga letter of guarantee kayo or your credit approval, wala pang release, I think they'll go back a few steps and take a look again at your credit rating. At
they will re-examine it based on new circumstances.
Exactly.
At nila kung may trabaho ka pa ba?
Oo, wala na, di ba? So yung ganun yan. So, tapos the other one is, nagda-down payment pa lang siya, nakalampas pa lang siya ng 1 year or 2 years, di ba? So anong gagawin niya? Either he gives up his equity, or he goes to the Maceda law, or he makes pasalo. So ayan yung mga circumstances. Those people who are fully paid for their housing, and they're not mortgaged, they're not leveraged, which like Gary said, high-end yun, yung mga ganon. Naka-hold dyan. Hold dyan. But sila bibitaw ngayon of all times, di ba? Sila pa nga yung mga ngayon naghahanap ng deals. I get so many inquiries already. Noli, may deal ka. Wala pa. Sobrang hot na sa deals, di ba?
Parang medyo few and far between na nga ang real estate deals. I've seen one or two that have still proceeded, notwithstanding the government intervention, the government lockdown. But then, interesting what you said, Sir Noli, about the pre-selling market. For the longest time, the condominium prices have been going up steadily here in the metro, PGC, Makati, everywhere, here in NCR at the very least. And then people are so keen on making this investment. Nabanggit nga ni Gary, it's very much dependent on your ability to pay that monthly amortization depending on where your cash is coming from. No? So do you think the developers will have to adjust how they sell their projects now? Or what do you think? Where do you think the pre-selling market is headed? Let's start with Gary.
Actually, I've been attending webinars conducted by the developers. They are more or less giving flexible terms now, terms that you didn't that you don't have during the good days. you can now see no down payment, and let's say 50% spread over the construction period for 5 or 6 years. So the terms definitely are softening because remember, demand has slowed down. The last 2 months, basically very low demand. But of course, you would also hear stories like there are transactions happening in the project selling market, because this is a transaction that you don't need to see the property. It is based on off plans. This is based on drawing, and people make decisions based on what the developer is providing, the information that they're providing. So I see prices may not really go down for developers, but softening of terms, definitely it's already happening. It's more flexible now. They are offering flexible terms.
I suppose they're giving similar benefits to those who are already under contract to sell and have already made some form of investment into a pre-selling property. But then, Noli, are you seeing more and more of these? Do you see? Would you be able to predict, like in the next few months, that maraming default din sa kanilang mga pre-selling investments?
Sa middle market, hindi masyado. Kasi I think that the middle market has actually, they've reached a certain level of financial maturity na rin. It's unlike before, financial awareness was not even something. Bibili ka lang ngayon kasi gusto mong bumili. Bukas wala ka nang bayad ng monthly amortization. I think the youth today, the millennials, which is basically the middle market already, medyo mas well-planado na ang kanilang buhay. They come into a financial maturity earlier. Yeah, I don't see too much of that happening. What I see happening is in the lower market, wherein we have isang ahin, dalawang tuka, pero bumili pa rin ng bahay. Doon siguro mangyayari yan.
Okay. That's good insight, no? So tuloy pa rin actually, what I'm gathering from you gentlemen is that medyo magso-slow down lang ng konti. Pero tuloy pa rin yung opportunity in real estate. Tama po ba? Because I understand that naman tayo, there is this trend that we're looking at, and although we are facing difficult times now, in terms of like people who have not been able to work, or who have been forced to stay home and not get any part of their salary, these are the clients that would constitute the very lifeblood of the real estate industry. Let's talk about government regulation now. We have seen various changes over the past few weeks insofar as how real estate buying and selling and leasing are going to proceed. Right now, under the enhanced community quarantine, leasing of properties is allowed, but for some reason, buying and selling not yet. Are you in favor of this? What do you think of this kind of regulation? Does it serve the purpose? Let's start with Gary.
Well, I would understand where the government's coming from, because they want to protect, the people, communities from, from the virus being transmitted from one another. Since I've been doing condos for the last 10, 15 years or so, this is just me. This is just my opinion. Even if the government will allow showing. Remember, the condos are dominated by or regulated by the condo court, and the condo court, being humans, they might be fearful of the transmission, and it is possible that they will also regulate the showing of properties, even if government will allow. So this is something, again, this is just me. This is just my speculation. So I'm also preparing, because I've been in the condo market. Buildings that fear contamination may be highly regulated, and they will really screen should they allow guests in their buildings. So that's how I see it. But it's really a possible thing that could happen.
Okay, so I suppose it's more prevalent in condos. It's more relevant in terms of regulation, because you're bound by the rules of a condominium corporation, whether viewings are allowed for one reason or another. Then, assuming that we do step step out into the sun, into the sunlight, that's the general community quarantine. So Noli, I'd like to briefly touch again on what you mentioned earlier in terms of timeline. How long do you think before things start to re-normalize, no? Or at least makabawi na yung mga kailangan mag-hold at this point? Kasi I'm pretty sure most of our clients are just hanging on to their cash for good reason. But then when do you see things starting to turn up?
Oh, when the economy starts picking up, no? I think that the government today, they realize that they cannot take a hit on the economy. In other words, they've reached their maximum already. Hanggang dyan na lang ang kaya nila. So they have to start making bitaw. What is very frightening is the second wave, on how disciplined or how the Filipinos will adapt to a GCQ or to what they call the new normal. No? And then after that, the economy will pick up. I think that a lot of people, as you've seen in the provinces, no, ang unang ginawa nila nung nag-GCQ sila, nagtabuhan na lang sa mall, no? So you can see that the Filipinos are still by nature mga maulers, you know? Mga gastador pa rin talaga. They want to spend their money.
If you build it, they will come. That's right. You will always find them in the mall. So very key sa regulations natin ng mga malls. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think what's important lang is if anybody, you know, kung kaya ng healthcare system natin, I think we have enough places to put you know, the suspects there already, you know. What only worries me is there's still no cure. But if once a cure comes out, it's gonna be like sipon lang. You make hatching, you drink something. Dati kortal, no? So you make hatching, they give you this medicine, and you know you get well already. No? So when that happens, I think the economy will start to do good. Although we'll see a lot of online marketing, either real estate, retail, food, everything. You know, we just have to really do something with our internet structure. Lang. Our infrastructure really is terrible.
So yung signal, ano, para hindi tayo naging traffic. Go ahead, G.
If I may just share, yeah, I think many people have already accepted that COVID will be part of their lives, no? While there's no vaccine. That's why you see people, when they're allowed to go out, they go to the malls. People who had the confidence to go out, they will go out. And I think that could also happen here in the Philippines.
I see. Yeah. So actually, we talked about people who may be out of a job now, or maybe their businesses are not doing as well as it used to. Gary, you mentioned kanina that nag-shift ka from one industry to another back when there was another crisis hitting the globe. Could you tell us just a little bit more about that? And then what made real estate such an attractive proposition for you, no? For those who are thinking of maybe shifting into another career or profession, what do you have to say?
It's a great question. I've been in the garment industry for 10 years. And interestingly, every time I start a business, after a year or two, there's a crisis. So I started my garment business in 1996, 97, 98, there was a crisis. I started, I shifted to real estate in 2006, 2008, there was a global financial crisis. But here's the thing. Well, praise God that we were able to survive those two crises. And I shifted to real estate because from having a lot of employees to manage in a factory setting, I wanted to have a lean organization with a few people. And since my background was in sales, so I wanted to go into real estate selling. And the good thing about real estate selling is that crisis or no crisis, there will still be people who will engage in real estate, whether we like it or not. So this is an industry that will always have an opportunity. And there's low capital when it comes to real estate selling. As a broker or as an agent, you don't have that kind of resources that you need for a traditional business. And well, in fact, some people would say, laway lang capital. Well, I beg to disagree, because if you want to be successful in this business, you need to do a lot of research. You have to acquire knowledge and get skills so that you can serve your clients better. So it's a low entry, low barrier.
Yeah. low buy-in, pero dapat stand out ka among your peers. Para your skills, your professionalism must be on another tier. Sir Noli, you are widely respected in the real estate industry. What does El Subastahero have to say about the current crisis? And if you're a young investor or an aspiring investor or among your fans, yung sina Fredolin, etc., na have really looked up to you for guidance insofar as where to put their hard-earned money. Tuloy bang ligaya sa real estate para kay El Subastahero?
Tuloy na tuloy. Your package is going to be more exciting within the next few weeks and months, you know. So I said, there have been a lot of opportunities. You just have to spot where they are, no? And every day, you have to be ready lang. I kept telling people, no, serve your resources. You have to replenish your emergency fund and start building again on your investment fund. Kasi medyo, so this last 30 days or last 60 days, medyo nagalaw mo yung emergency fund mo. No? Replenish mo muna yan habang wala pa yung mga major deals na dumadating.
Shifting over now to Gary, you have seen ups and downs in the real estate industry, and what would be your practical tips now for budding real estate investors and brokers such as yourself?
Okay, so when I said earlier that I was a bit optimistic, what I really meant was, look at opportunities. There will be segments of the market that will not really be so hit, and there are segments that will really be hit, unfortunately. So if you have the means to invest, I think the mid-market, low-income market, because these people might really be selling at a distressed level, though you don't really want to take advantage of their difficult situation. But if it comes to that people would just like to get out, I think this is an opportunity where you probably can get a discount of 15, 20, or even more percent from what they used to be selling. And opportunities like maybe the industrial, with what is going on between the US and China. I heard in one market review that factories may be transferring out of China. We just really have to validate. So this is an opportunity for the Philippines with so much land, warehouses, logistics. These are opportunities even at this time, because businesses have been shifting from the brick and mortar type of business to the online. So I see some opportunities in this.
Alright, so ika nga, dapat alisto ka lang lagi, ano? So despite any difficulties that we may be facing right now, at the very least, hopefully things will get better in the next 3 to 4 weeks by our estimation. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure and an honor talking to you today. Once again, thank you for your time and for your valuable insights. Sana po lahat ng nakapanood sa atin, for all of those who were able to watch our program, I hope you guys were able to pick up a nugget of wisdom or two from two of the best in the real estate industry. Many thanks again to Gary Hablero and El Subastahero, Mr. Noli Alleje. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you guys soon.